Hey, what's up, guys? This is Sheldon. I'm new to YouTube and all that stuff. But today I'm gonna basically just run through some basics of the SR20, the S14 SR20 VVL conversions. So the first thing that you have to do to the block is this oil port. On the S14, this port goes to the chain tensioner. That port goes to the VTC. So as I said, that port goes to the VTC on the S14 head. That is basically the variable valve timing on the intake camshaft. And if you're doing the VVL conversion, you have to block this one off firstly because this is an open port. I'll show you guys on the head gasket just now. This is an open port if you put the VVL head on. That one goes to the chain tensioner. But that one, as you guys can see, I did put a restrictor in it. Well, what I used for that is a carbureted jet that I just drilled a bit bigger, and basically the same size as that jet that was in there for the tensioner. Because the VVL uses the tensioner, some people leave that open, and it's basically, it doesn't make a difference. But the way I see it is, on the S13 blocks they've got a restrictor here, and on the S14 that one is open because it goes to the VTC. So on the S13 and the VVLs, that port is used for the chain tensioner. So that's why I went to put the restrictor in there, because it just makes sense that the VVL uses a restrictor in that port, and then the S13s and stuff uses that. The second thing you have to do on the block is plug this drain hole. And what I did here was the hole measured 16.5, so we tapped it as 18 by 1.5 metric thread, and I couldn't find a grub screw or whatever just to plug that. So I bought a bolt, cut it off, just grounded a slot in it, and just screwed that in with a screwdriver. So that's the basic mods that you have to do to the block of a S14 or a S15 if you want to do the SR20 VE conversion. If you're running the VVL oil pump, you have to drill and tap that hole, because the S14, S15 oil pumps have that mounting hole, and the front wheel drives uses that mounting hole. So that I got sorted, and basically ready for the VVL oil pump. Hey guys, another tip on doing the S14 VVL or SR20 VE conversion is that there is the head now on its head. There's an oil port here that gets fed oil to the solenoids here at the back. So because the SR20 S14 doesn't have this port, you have to block that one off and then just drill through on the side here. I drilled that one through, and you tap this side to get your oil feed from your oil pressure sensor, or from your oil feed from your oil filter side. Feed it in there, and because that one is blocked now, the oil comes in from the side, goes straight to the back to the solenoids. Alright, so here's this, just a cheap head gasket of a SR20DE, which is very similar to the SR20VE. You see that section there is not included, and then here where this oil port is here, it's blocked off, and then there's the oil restrictor for the oil tensioner, the chain tensioner. So I'm going to show you now what I mean on the head where that goes to the tensioner. Right, so here's the head. As you can see, I blocked off that port, I drilled that one through, I tapped it, and then here is where that oil restrictor is located on the block. So if you look, it's there, and that's a head bolt hole. But if you look on the tensioner side, it's got a oil feed through there. So if I stick this through there, there you can see it goes through to that port. So that's why I put the restrictor in there for the tensioner, because that's how the SR20 VE block sits. The block has got that tensioner, that restrictor in there. So that's why I decided to put that restrictor in the block. And some people do it, some people don't. I haven't really, I tried asking some guys, no one could really tell me that, but according to my knowledge, the way it works, it should have the restrictor in. All right, guys. Another thing with the S14 VVL conversion that you guys can do, well, that I'm doing, you have to do the oil pump collar that drives the oil pump. And the main thing is because the VVL oil pump has got a 16 mil drive. Now, if you look on this one, this is a normal DE SR20 DE oil pump drive, and there you can see it's about probably a 10 or maybe 12 millimeter pump drive. And if you look at this one, this is a SR20 DT, and you can see the oil pump drive runs there about, let's say, 14 millimeters. And now I'm going to put it down there. The SR20 VVL has now a thicker drive. So where this one is measured from there to there, and the DE runs on that bit there to there, you can already see quite a big difference just on the DE versus the DT. Now, the VVL, the oil pump gear is actually thicker than the DT oil pump. So what I did was I took one of these sleeves and I had it machined. I had a 6 mil spacer basically machined off one of these sleeves, and the VVL conversion, you basically put this collar in first, and then that you can run the VVL pump, because otherwise your VVL drive on the oil pump sits wider than this. And if you do this, that 6 millimeter spacer, because it's now 6 millimeter standing out, you have to machine the nose off the crank pulley. Let me just get to the crank pulley quick. Right. Now, there on this nose, sorry, I'm working here by the engine, it's just where the light is. On this nose, you have to take it down 6 millimeters to basically make the pulley line up like it should, back to standard. So this one I've had machined and modified for the 60-2, and yeah, I've taken that down 6 millimeters because I've got the 6 millimeter spacer on the DT drive or the VVL oil pump drive. So let's just run through the process here quickly. I've got one keyway in there. Let's just put the other keyway in. Okay, there. The keyway is basically in place. I'm just going to give it a light tap. Just a light tap, you don't want to damage anything. Just to get it in nice and flush, or not even nice and flush, just to get a nice starting point. This crank chain sprocket goes on with this dot facing downwards. So let's just get this on, lined up there. Let me just get this sorted. So just a bit of a nudge there. So that goes all the way to the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the shorter sleeve. This is the 6 millimeter sleeve. Space, get that on there. Just a light tap. That on there, and that can go over. I'm using this nice clean non-damaged sleeve that's going there. So push it through, line it up, then it's like that spacer there. So there's still enough meat to hold this drive there. That keyway still sticks out, so this collar is driven by both keyways, and then this little bit that sticks out is enough for your crank pulley stall to go over and the bolt to hold it in place. Right, here we carry on. The head is on and stuff, and this is basically the last bit of the VVL conversion that I need to go through. So from the oil pressure sensor, the original one, I basically put a teed it down and send oil to the head, like I told you guys, to put the feed in for the head. That feed goes to the VVL solenoid that sits here at the back, and that actuates your cams. So what I did here is I attached another T-piece with the oil temperature sensor and the oil pressure sensor. It's still on the same line, so I could have put the pressure sensor there, but I decided to put it there as it is right under the manifold, so the wires can feed through there. So it's going to be nice and neat and a well plumbed setup. So yeah, that's the last bit of the S14, S15, sr20 VVL conversion. There you go, there's the whole motor. It's built. Just excuse the light at the back, it's all built. Tappet cover can come off. I did degree the cams, so yeah, there you go. Motor is almost ready to go in.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Mama, please don't worry about me, 'cause I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Back and forth with the bullshit. I know I said it before, I don't mean it. It's been a while since I had your attention.